The one that requires no coding and
Right.
has a huge impact is text. Just adding more text to every single page on your website helps the search engines read and understand that page better because they struggle with images and videos. They can read the file name, but other than that, that's not much text. And the more text you put on each page, the more they're going to reward you by better understanding what that page is about and giving you more visibility. But that's one thing. A lot of people don't have much text, and people don't want, like, I don't want to read a bunch of text on the page.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, where we take regular clinic owners and turn them into cash-based multimillionaire entrepreneurs. Warning, if you're a doctor who listens to this podcast regularly, you will make millions of dollars. Do not listen to this podcast unless you want to be a successful clinic owner who helps thousands of patients achieve their health goals and adds more money than you can imagine to your bank account. You've been warned.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, where we take regular clinic owners and we turn them into super clinic owners. I'm your host, Jennifer Glegerich, and one of the hosts, but I'm the one who does the interviews. And so today we're here with an entrepreneur and a digital marketing expert who started out in the ad agency world back when everyone did not have or felt that they really even needed a website. So he's been here for a while. In his time, he's expanded, branched out, and realized that just having a site was only one piece of the puzzle in getting his clients customers. So he branched out into what was working and he made himself an expert at SEO. So let us welcome Brandon Leibowitz of SEO Optimizers to the show today. Welcome, Brandon. I'm really excited to talk about SEO with you because that's one thing all of our clinics ask about, because it seems like for most people, we're very in the dark of what it is and what we actually have to do.
I'm glad to be on here and share some of my knowledge with everybody about how to get more free traffic from Google, get that visibility and that exposure.
That is really what everybody wants to know. How can you get the most bang for what we're already doing, right? So what would you say is one of the first things that you tell people when they go and just ask you, for advice when they're not heading on over to you? What is one of the first things that you will ask people about? Like, have you done this? Have you done this? Or you have, what is that?
The one that requires no coding and
Right.
has a huge impact is text. Just adding more text to every single page on your website helps the search engines read and understand that page better because they struggle with images and videos. They can read the file name, but other than that, that's not much text. And the more text you put on each page, the more they're going to reward you by better understanding what that page is about and giving you more visibility. But that's one thing. A lot of people don't have much text, and people don't want, like, I don't want to read a bunch of text on the page.
Right. That's what I
Usually,
was thinking.
yeah. So I would say put it at the very bottom of the page. Most people aren't going to scroll to the bottom, but Google will read from top to down, bottom, see that text and understand it. But the top, we want to keep it pretty for people because you need to get those conversions.
Right. You don't want it to be overwhelmed. So, what about the people who are like, oh, just if you have a white background, just put a lot of white text in the background? That used to be a tactic. I know back in the day when I was asked to build websites back on, like Dreamweaver, and we're talking web pages and I mean, front page. I did things like on the old school ones, right? Back in the day, but there would be a way you could embed just all these keywords, right? Just to get more eyes on it. But that's really frowned on now. So what type of text are you talking about and how?
Yeah, no, don't hide the text. Used to work, but Google changes their algorithm all the time. And anything that's like deceptive or you're trying to trick Google, Google's been around for 30 years and has seen all the tricks. So anything that seems too good to be true probably is. It's going to be short-lived. Like, you can hide text and it could temporarily work, but in the long run, Google's going to find out, catch you, and then drop you down the rankings, and don't want that to happen. But with the text, the way that you do it in a proper way is you make it useful for the reader and don't just put a bunch of keywords either. Try to think like, what is the reader looking for? And the best way to figure out how much content and how much text you should put on each page is by actually just going into Google, searching whatever keyword that page is targeting, and then seeing who ranks on page one of Google, opening up all those websites skipping over the ads. The ads aren't really doing SEO. It's a little different, but open up all the websites that rank organically and look at how much text they use. And you could kind of average it out. If everyone's using 500 words, you probably want to put 550 words. If everyone's writing 20 words, write 50 words. You want to do a little bit more than the competition, but you don't want to overdo it because some people will be like, hey, just write 2,000 words, make it a full page, like just become the go-to guide, but sometimes it's too much information. And Google just wants content to be useful for the readers.
So that's really good, is to look and see what the competition is doing. And now we have AI that can help people. There's a lot of different AI programs you could have write, very specific things, make it concise, make it go. You can actually tell AI, help me. This is what I want people to know. You can actually prompt AI. I would like people to know when they come to their site that we are the clinic that are experts in this, and this, and we would like it to be under this many words because we're looking for something that works with SEO. And there are literally AI programs that'll write it for you. And it's correct. It's not lying. It's not promising things that aren't there. And it's not so clunky, to where people are going to go, ugh, and then just go to another site because it's pretty. Right? So
Now,
that's good. So that's a good one. As far as what, there are other things that you can do too, like backlinks. Can you explain what backlinks are and how to do those safely? Because everybody goes to the conferences and they hear about these things and then they go and do them and they don't work or they don't do them correctly. Can you explain about backlinks?
backlinks are the most important part of SEO. That's the part of SEO that never really ends is you are always building backlinks. So keywords, content, you make all these changes to your website, and once it's done, it's pretty much done for the most part, unless you add new pages or products or services. But Google reads all that and says, great, but we don't trust you. Why should we rank you? Because we don't believe anything that anybody puts on the website. Keywords don't mean anything without trust, and you have to build trust. And the way Google looks at websites to build trust is by looking at backlinks. Backlinks are clickable links from another website that points to yours. Let's say, for example, you're reading an article on Forbes.com. In there, it says Brandon Leibowitz, and you click on that and it goes to my website. I'd be getting a backlink from Forbes.com. The more websites that have clickable links pointing to your website, the more popular Google thinks you are, the more trust Google's going to give to you. Then they look at those keywords to figure out, all right, now that we trust you and we want to rank you, what keywords are you actually targeting? So we can make sure we rank you for the correct keywords and send you the correct traffic to your website.
So for people that are doing this, whenever they do any of their advertising or whenever somebody talks to them, you would like them to get their front page of their website, not an obscure bit.ly link or even Linktree link, because sometimes those people will go all over the place. If you can get a main link, is that what you're saying? I just want to make sure I'm getting that correctly, or if I'm off target completely.
Yeah, no, you want to get published on other websites. So a great way to build backlinks is, well, I do podcasts and I do guest spots because I hope that you write about it or post the episodes on your website, and then I'd be getting an SEO backlink. So I'm trying to leverage ways to think outside the box of how can I get other websites to mention me. If you just ask a website for a backlink, they're gonna be like, all right, you want me to do what? You want me to update my website and add your business on my website? What's in it for me? But if you offer something of value, like conferences you mentioned, if you sponsor a trade show or an event or a booth at conferences, they usually list their sponsors on the websites with clickable links that point to those sponsors so they get backlinks. And there's tons of different ways to build backlinks. Social media doesn't really count. So getting it from like Instagram or Linktree, all those are okay, but they don't really count for SEO. You want to get sites that are niche related to you. The more related, the better. That's really the most important thing with the backlinks is relevancy is number one, and then authority. Like how big, how popular is this website? If I gave you a backlink from my website, it's a good backlink, but it's not the same as like the New York Times or LA Times or Wikipedia. So it's like big, popular websites pass on a lot of trust. And then those really niche relevance websites pass on that relevancy to Google.
What about places like PR Web and things like that? like when you go with them, that's one of the things that they say that they'll do for you. Is that still working like that? Would you say that, because they're like, we can get you published and we'll put your news release out on these different major platforms and then you'll get a link back. Is that kind of what you mean by that?
Yep, so that's press releases where you could go to PR Web or PR Newswire or all these different press release distribution companies, and you write a press release and they'll help distribute it to the press to make sure that gets picked up by good popular sites. And when you have a press release, it usually has your company name and your website in there, your name, address, phone number. Helps out for local SEO because you get all these local citations. You get the backlink, but backlink is from a PR websites. So they're just kind of general news sites. They don't have that relevancy. And Google knows that you could just go on these press release sites and you're just kind of paying to get in there. Google doesn't want to make it that easy. They want you to really earn those backlinks. So relevancy is number one. Press releases, they used to help a lot more in the past. Now they're kind of just like neutral. It's not bad to do because every corporate business does a press release. So
Mhm.
doing your own press release is not bad. It's just not going to have that same impact as it did like 10 years ago when the relevancy wasn't so important. Now, relevancy is number one with those backlinks.
So really, podcast is one of the last wild west places you can go to organically get that, because not everybody's paying for podcasts. A lot of companies need guests and they're talking to guests. And so
Mm.
I would say that's probably a pretty good one because you're actually on real websites with real people talking on that. What are some other ways people can do that? Is just really putting themselves out there to get interviewed, or to do partnerships with charities and make sure that if they do any giving, any sponsorship at all, they're like, hey, if you mention me, if you mention, we did this big donation. I know a lot of doctors' offices will do drives. They'll do food drives. They'll do other drives during, we had an office that's in Central Texas. They're doing a big drive for clothing and the things that all the flood victims need. And so I know you don't think about that in times of major tragedy, but just you can say, hey, be sure to put my website in this. That's what we want the acknowledgement to go. Correct? Am I correct with that?
Yeah, no, if you're doing stuff like that and you're getting just picked up naturally, organically by press,
Mhm.
that's where you want to make sure, because this happens all the time, where a lot of my clients, lawyers, for example, they'll get mentioned in the news all the time, but it doesn't have a link back to the website. So we're like, hey, like we had this news channel, Fox or CNN or whatever channel that mentioned you. Let's email them and be like, hey, can you also add a clickable link to their website? If it's pointed to your Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, that doesn't really help your SEO. That's going to help your social media. And you don't really want to promote your social. You'd rather promote your website because you have that forever. That's yours to control forever. Social media, it's not really yours. You're renting space and off these platforms, and you're just going to help promote them, which social media is great, but with SEO, number one is your website. And you could set up Google Alerts, which is a free tool from Google that will alert you anytime your company name is mentioned. That way, if you do all this stuff, you're probably getting picked up naturally, and you might not know about a lot of these places that mention you. So I set up alerts for my name, my company name, and then I'll be able to see if I've gone, and my clients too. And then I can see if they're getting picked up by any news publications, or like sometimes I'll write articles or do the guest spots, and I'll get notified that the podcast was released before the host even told me because I'll get that Google alert and notification. So then I could start sharing it and check it out and repurpose it and spread the word with my audience.
That's actually really good. I didn't even think about the Google alerts. I'm writing that down. I'm writing that down as notes. You know what I think is interesting? So right now we're gonna this episode is gonna drop in not today, right? But today the big news is something that happened overnight. So I have to admit I'm invested because it's such drama, but there was a Coldplay concert and the CEO was there, and you know how they do the jumbotron, so it shows this guy at his birthday, and the lead singer of Coldplay was like, oh, it's your birthday, thanks for coming and sharing it with us at this concert. And then it goes and shows this couple, and at first, his arms are around her, they just look like this typical really fit looking 50-year-old couple, right? Turns out that immediately, instead of just smiling, he ducks out. He like lets go of her, and he like, it almost looked like he got to his knees and like left, right, to get off the camera. And she turns around like in shame, right? And so this happened at a concert at night. So you're talking about 11 or 12. By 6 a.m., when I woke up and I look at my social media, everyone on planet Earth was talking about it. Within 6 hours, people had found out who they were, found out the company name, found out their names, and of course, they both worked for the same company. And she was the head of HR. She was the chief people officer. He was the CEO of a company that just got 27 million dollars worth of seed D series funding. So they were still in their probationary period with all this funding.
Mm.
And then next to them was her friend who she had just hired, also in HR. So within 8 hours, all of it is exposed. And I bet immediately, I am very curious of if the people who are following their SEO, their Google, and the mentions, that must have, I didn't even think about it, but that must have been popping off, you think?
Yeah,
Because they
no,
had a statement immediately by like 9 a.m. They had a statement.
yeah, no, they're going to get a lot of backlinks for SEO. So negative press indirectly in the long run, once it all settles down, all this press that they're getting is going to get them a ton of backlinks because everyone is talking about it
It's
and
everywhere. It's
all
on
the
the
news
news.
is
It's on the BBC. It was on India Times. I mean, it's actually crazy that it's probably one of the most, what did I read? This is the most scandalous, like, infidelity scandal that 99% of the world's population don't even know the people involved.
social media is connecting everybody in a good
I
and
know. I know. It's
bad.
very, for me, I was had very Schadenfreude. I was very glad because, I think what terrible people, right? But then I thought, ooh, but they all have kids and the kids are still in school. I can't imagine just
Mm,
getting up in your day and you send your kids off to school and then you're on your way to work and your phone starts blowing up and you're like, oh my God, I've got to go get the kids because all those kids are on the phone. Like, what would that be like? Now they have
mm,
to deal with that, right? And
that
just how awful it is, right? I know that we sound like a gossip show now, but it's it. So, but you can tie it in. That's how SEO would work. So it can be good or it can be bad, but let's let it be good.
I get
Right?
that positive PR.
The
Get the
positive
backlinks in a
PR.
positive way.
Yeah. And when should you when talking about social media, a lot of people are like, well, how do I even do that? They're starting into it. They don't know when to post or how to post. And I know you talk about a lot of that, like what social sites people should use and when and how to post. Can you just touch on that? I know you do mostly SEO, but if it's how to do it to where you're getting a benefit from it.
I would look at where your audience is and try to focus on those platforms. That way you're not on everything because there's too many platforms and social media can take up a lot of time if you're trying to be everywhere. So pick and choose, see which ones that you're posting on that get the most engagement because for everyone it's going to be different. It's not just a one size fits all with social. Sometimes it works better for some people on one platform and someone else it might work better for TikTok versus YouTube or LinkedIn or Instagram and all other platforms, Twitter and Pinterest, and just trying to find your core audience. And same with time of posting. You gotta just think, who is my audience and when are they going to be on social media? Because, well, in the past it mattered with the algorithms when they're chronological. Now it has algorithms, so they'll still show stuff a week later, but if you could hit it at a time when someone's potentially going to be viewing it and get a lot of people viewing it at the time that you post it, that's going to get a little bit better reach and hopefully spread it. So try to find the right time Depends on your audience, really. Like usually people say Tuesday to Thursday from 11 or 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. But if you're a nightclub, that's the worst time for you to be posting. You need to be posting on Friday and Saturday night and building it up. So same thing. It's not really, it doesn't always work the one way, but I would look at your competition and see what platforms they're active on, what times, when they're posting, and which posts get the most engagement. And you could do it yourself and trial and error on your own page, but you could look at your competitors and look at all their data and try to piece together what works best. That way you don't have to have all those mistakes and you could just learn and grow and hopefully just hit it the way it should be and just target that right audience at the right moments.
I'm going to give y'all some tips because I would say you would be amazed for the people with chronic pain, even though you're like for our chiro offices or people who deal with people in pain. So let's say functional med or chiro, you'd be amazed at how late nights are during week, even week, and just later at night or very early in the morning because of people who can't go to sleep because they're in pain and people who can't see, who wake up because they're in pain. And we have an entire call center that's, that we run for our clinics and things like that. And I'm always continuously amazed about the amount of people, it's like midnight, 1, 2, and 3 that are responding to ads like that, that we've put at that time frame because they just happen to be up at that point just looking at stuff, which is completely different than the med spa. Med spa is a completely different time frame that people are looking at that, and they're more, daytime people, but they also do a lot more weekend too. Like they go to a party or they wake up and they're like, I don't feel like I'm as refreshed as I should be, or what should I be doing? And so, I mean, you're absolutely right. Look at your competition too, but really think about your people and the number one problem you're solving for them and what behaviors they have for that. So I do agree with you on that one. Uh, when you talk about like trends, and knowing that we have clinics and things like that, so I don't know how much information you have about that, but what would you say are the biggest trends that are going on in SEO right now?
Biggest trend in general, I think, is probably
Yeah.
AI that is taking over everything. And you mentioned AI earlier with content. Google said last year, we don't care who writes content anymore, if it's human or AI, doesn't matter as long as it's accurate, which AI is not accurate. It does those AI hallucinations and makes things up, but it's a great starting point. And as long as you double, triple, quadruple check it before you post it and make sure it's accurate and beneficial to the reader, it's all good to use. So that's definitely changed a lot with content creation. And like I was saying at the very beginning, adding more text to your website. You could use AI to help create that content and put that text on your page. And that's even with like blog content and just so much with content. Then we'll have to see how people search as well. How Google's going to change with AI search and AI overviews and Gemini and ChatGPT and all these different platforms that are emerging and the large language models and seeing what's going to happen. Are people going to just switch off Google, or is Google going to incorporate AI in a way that people would rather use it, or is ChatGPT going to take over, or is another one going to keep popping up because there's so many new ones that keep emerging, and that I think has just changed everything in the past couple of years.
Yeah, and it's getting so exponentially different. You want to know, is AI going to really prefer AI over human or not? Like, will AI start talking to AI and then they're like, yeah, we prefer this content better, even if humans can't really understand it in the same realm. You don't know. And I use AI. I'm going to tell you, AI can be really great for social media for people who don't have a lot of time to do social media because it can create a calendar for you. You can ask, I use an AI called Centra, and it's actually 12 AIs in one. And you have to know what each one does. And there's a cute little person, like it looks like a space person, like an astronaut, and like Vizzy is my virtual assistant AI. And then I have Pen, who is my copywriter. And there's like little, I click on them and then I'll say something like, I need comprehensive notes for this, or I'll go to the social media one, Sophie. It's like I've used it so much, and I'll say, please tell me give me a posting calendar for this. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. And it'll say, okay, great. Here's like a whole day, and it'll give me prompts. And it'll even ask, would you like me to give you ideas on graphics or ideas on actual posts? And it can give you the ideas. So you can have a calendar and the ideas, and you can just take the idea and just put it into your own words as it relates. And the more the AI works with you, the more it starts to learn and gets even better. And so, on one hand, I think AI Terminator, I think of Linda Hamilton, we're all going to die, and this is really, really bad. And then on the other hand, I'm like, oh, this is so convenient. I'm getting more done with my time. So I do agree that AI is going to be the future, and it doesn't have to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm the bad people because I'm using it. Maybe we shouldn't, but I don't know. I am using it because I just see that it allows thinkers and really high performance people to do more with their time. I think the people who are going to have the hardest time with AI are people who are not great thinkers to begin with. If you're not an expert at what you do, AI is never going to make you an expert on what you do because you won't have the ability to prompt AI with where you need it to go to get the data quickly and to be able to proof it, you know? So there's that. It can't do everything for you. You do have to be an expert, but we only deal with expert here, so that's great. What would you say are the top uh, ways that people can track their analytics to know if SEO is even working for them? Would you just say it's still all Google Analytics, or do we have even new stuff for that?
Google Analytics is great and free and tells you like too much information. It's like data overload. A lot of people get overwhelmed with Google Analytics, but I would recommend sign up, create an account if you don't have one, get the little tracking code, put it on your website. The sooner you install it, the sooner it's going to start tracking. If you install it next month, you're not going to get any of this past month's data. And once you install it, then you're going to be able to see where your traffic's coming from, what pages they visit, how long they stay on those pages. They're coming from Google or Bing or from Facebook, from email, direct traffic. It'll show you everything you need to know about how your traffic is coming to your website, how they behave. But for SEO, there is Google Search Console. It's another tool from Google for free. And that one is really geared towards SEO. And that one will show you what keywords you rank for, what position you're in, if you've been penalized. Hopefully, no one has any penalties, but if you've done anything like hiding that font size 0.001 text with a white background and white font, they'll let you know there potentially, but it'll also show you how, like, what pages they found. Tells you a lot of technical stuff like your site speed, the mobile, how it looks on mobile, and a bunch of other stuff that's really important. So those both those tools are really important. You install Google Analytics, and then it's automatically going to verify Google Search Console, and then you can get both that data.
And so when you work with a client who says, that's great, but I just want to help people. That's not my skill set, but I don't want to be a chump. I want to know what questions to ask and how to know if the company I'm working for is a good company because I don't want to have to pay for it and just have people telling me things, but I'm not actually growing anything. I don't actually see it. So, what are the things that if you're searching for a company like SEO optimizers, what questions are you like, okay, this is somebody I can work with because they're savvy and this is what they should be looking for?
I would make sure that they are building good quality backlinks. If you're looking to hire an SEO company, that's always number one is the backlinks are tricky and you have to build the right backlinks because if you build the wrong ones, Google is happy to penalize websites because you're going to drop down in rankings. And if you're not ranking on organic, you're probably going to spend money on ads. And that's how Google makes all their money. So just making sure that they're building good quality, relevant websites for the backlinks, that they've been around. You can look at the analytics. When you have your own analytics, you could set up conversion tracking as well. So you could track conversions, leads, and phone calls, and all these different conversion email subscribers and signups. So you could track all that. And that's a great way to be able to measure and see what's working, what's not working, and how to improve on it. But when hiring a company, you always want to look at their, like, ask for clients or look at reviews and see if they've been around for a while because it's a newer company. You might want to find something that's been around a little longer because SEO changes all the time, and someone might have a strategy that works today, but you have to always be on top of it.
Okay, so client longevity, and you want to ask them about what's their strategy for backlinks, and what is the other thing that you want to ask them?
To look at reviews and case studies and maybe speak with old clients or current clients.
Okay. Okay. Well, there you have it. Well, guys, we're here already at the end, and so I hope we've all learned a lot. I know I have. And we have been talking with Brandon Leibowitz of SEO Optimizers, and Brandon has a wonderful gift for you guys. Can you tell them how they find that gift?
Yeah, you could find that on my website at seooptimizers.com/gift. That's seooptimizers.com/gift. And you can find my contact information and classes I've done over the years. I've thrown up for free so you can see step by step how to do a lot of this stuff. And you can find that all there on that page.
Well, that sounds great. And guys, as you know, you can go to superclinicproject.com. And if you go to our free school, we have all this there. Not only will we have this episode and all the links on any platform that you find us, we'll have the same link to the wonderful freebie. Again, thank you again. We love freebies here at SuperClinic. But also, too, we'll have everything about Brandon. But on our school, we like to do takeaways. So we will make a quiz that goes with us, or a handout, or even a little spreadsheet. It just depends on the episode. So we put extra things in there for you. So be sure to go to that. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And please give us a 5-star review. That 5-star review is very important for us. We're able to get incredible industry experts like Brandon on the show. And so if you can just take a moment to do that on whatever platform that you prefer, we'd absolutely appreciate it. Thank you, Brandon, so much for being here today. And for everyone listening, I hope you have a very great SuperClinic week. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the SuperClinic Project podcast. If you like what you hear, subscribe and stay tuned for further episodes of the SuperClinic Project podcast.